Welcome to another episode of Mom Com. It's not you, it's motherhood.
This is Nicole. And I'm Shannon. So we want to talk today about sort of why we grew up in a way, and hopefully this will resonate with others. We sort of grew up, or at least I grew up in a way that made me feel like you could have sort of one correct career path.
Yes.
And the goal was just work to achieve sort of the best level within that, and how motherhood kind of changed that. You know, whether we knew that was going to happen or not,
Yeah.
it forced, at least again in our situations, it kind of forced you to realize, hold on, what am I doing? Where are my priorities? So that's what we want to dig into today, because it's something you and I naturally find ourselves talking about. So
Yes, I think that's a good one, because being a mom and being there, like, everything's changed, right? Like, people are working remotely.
Yeah.
Where before it was like everyone left and
Yeah.
commuted and went to an office, and now people are working from home more, even though I think that's shifting again. I think
Yeah.
more people are going back to the office.
Well, because these offices, they paid all this money to build offices, and so they have to sort of justify
Right?
having them, because you can't just, there's all this overhead. So it is interesting, because I know a lot of people that
Right.
are like, it's so silly because we proved that we could work
Mhm.
just as efficiently, maybe more efficiently remote, but now we have to go back simply because this office exists,
Yeah.
Because that's when it happened where I was working, when COVID first happened. I remember, because my headquarters was in the UK, and it was different being in New York versus the UK. I told my boss at the time, I said, because I was running the New York office, I said, people are getting nervous about being on the subway. Like, I think I have to allow people to work from home. So I got it. He thought I was nuts, but I got it approved and
Wow.
said, everybody bring home and we weren't set up for that, because we worked, it was in the office. It was the grind, every
Yeah.
day. And long story short, I told everybody, just bring home your laptops. We'll probably be gone for 3 days. We never went back. And then that May, our lease was coming to an end. So we got lucky. So we completely closed the physical office and had
that
everybody working
was
from home.
lucky.
But again, there's some people, I know people who they had just finished these beautiful office build outs. So, anyways.
Yeah. So then you, as a business owner,
Yeah.
a company, you need to pay the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So I think the idea, though, today is each of us, everybody has their own story. Everyone has their own sort of guides, whether that's your parents or caretaker, whoever it might be, that helps shape what you believe adulthood should look like, what you believe motherhood should look like, what you believe parenting should be, right? And your career is inevitably a huge part of that. And so I grew up in a way that was kind of decide at 17, 18 years old what you're going to do, right? What's your goal? Go to college, pick that major, focus solely on that. Get an internship, get a full-time job, whatever it is, and just work as hard as possible. And if you work the hardest, you will be at the top. And if you stay there the longest, you will be at the top. And if you say yes to everything, well, here's the thing.
where did that get you?
Actually, work smarter, not harder. I wish that was the way. I mean, I don't regret. I am so proud of the career that I built.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, because when things change, which we'll get into, things changed. It is that moment of like, oh my gosh, all those years, all that time of just totally grinding, which again, it was my goal. It's what I wanted to do. But it was definitely, for me, having children starts to chip away a little bit about, priorities. And is me making somebody else more successful? I wasn't the boss. Is me, where, how should this shift? So again, kind of interesting.
I had the same, like, I saw a single mom working, never home. And then we didn't have any money. We didn't have food. We didn't have all these things. And as I got older, my mom, as she got more into like her addiction and her issues, she would get fired. And so one day I was 15, I think, or 16. She came home in the middle of the day, because I homeschooled myself. And she said she got fired again. And I was like, I'm so tired of living this way.
Yeah.
So I got dressed and I went down to the strip mall, like this town center
Mm-hmm.
that I could walk to. And I started going into businesses to see if they needed any help. And the tanning salon, the owner was there. And I said, do you need any help here? He said, yes. Can you start right now? And I said, yes,
Yes.
I can. I called my mom and I was like, I just got a job. I won't be back
Wow.
till 7 or whatever time the
Yeah.
tanning salon closed.
Yeah.
And so I would bring, because I homeschooled, I would bring all my homework there. And I, had a lot of different ideas of what I wanted to do. My mom said you should go be an attorney because you always argue and you have a big mouth. And I was like, yeah. So I went to school to become a paralegal and everyone hated their job. All the attorneys hated their jobs. And I was like, why do I want to do that? That sucks. Everyone hates their job.
Yeah.
No, thank you. But I finished. And then I was like, I want to be an interior designer. Did that for a month, but I lived on my own. You had to be like, that was like a full-time commitment. I'm like, that's not going to work. And so I had to, I was on my own a month after turning 17.
Right.
So my focus was pay the bills, take care of myself, because my whole life, my mom could not take care of us.
When you were caring for another sibling too.
Oh, and my brother. Yeah. So I was like feeding my brother and, all these things. So like where other people that come from different homes are thinking, you go to school, you take SATs, you get into college, you go, do that career. I was in survival mode
from such a young age. Oh, gosh.
And that meant doing all the jobs.
Yeah.
Like doing everything I could think of. And, God took me down a path of, putting opportunities in front of me, and those took care of me. Like working for a jewelry designer. She was a sole proprietor. So I got to learn about being a sole proprietor and like what that looks like. And then when I would go work for bigger companies, it never worked with my personality and how I operate. So I just naturally went to more of entrepreneurial style companies, and then had our own company. And then
well,
you have kids. Yeah. And then that kind of changes.
Right.
Because you're like, oh gosh, being self-employed is really hard and you have to work a lot.
Yeah.
Especially like being in real estate. I work 24/7. That wasn't really sustainable when you have 2 kids 18 months apart that need you.
Right. But don't you I feel like it's so interesting. We're just two people with two very different stories, but and our view from a young child into adulthood was very different, right? Of what it's supposed to be. So I imagine for, anybody who's listening, their view, maybe it's similar to one of ours, but it also could be completely different and look, totally different. Because it's interesting. Because we didn't grow up with money either. I mean, right? I was like, oh gosh, I hope those bills are gonna get paid, and all of the things.
Hard.
But it was different. It was I always there was support, and my mom was a single mom, but she went back to nursing school and literally put herself through nursing school and stopped at nothing to make sure she could provide. And, I had a very, very supportive grandparents and all of the things. So I it's so wild to me anytime we talk about your childhood, because I think I would guess that people in your position, there's kind of two paths, right? Either I will never be in this position and I will stop at nothing, which you at such a young age were taking care of your brother and working and providing and making sure there was food. Or I think maybe it's easy to fall into the why are these the cards that I was dealt?
Yeah.
And
victim
mode and martyr mentality. And I'm not downplaying. I mean, I can't imagine, but I just think your strength shows. And yes, you're right, God provided. But I think you made those, if you had shifted your mindset to just constantly feeling sorry.
Yeah, that's
then
true.
You probably wouldn't have.
Mindset is everything. My mindset was survive. Survive. I got to survive this. I got to survive this. And I got to hustle. I got to work hard. And that is how I'm going to make money. I don't ever want to be poor again, And so that like kind of ignites a fire, and I'm grateful for that. But as I've gotten older, you kind of learn that there doesn't have to be one path, you know, and you can have many different, I think we all see that now. You have, you know, kids making millions playing video games.
Right.
Right? Why didn't I go down that path?
Right. Right.
You know, or like unboxing toys,
Yeah.
making millions.
Right.
You know, and those are like thinking outside of the box and taking different opportunities. And listening to Gabby, she and really being into manifesting. And I've always, you know, thought like, if you think this sucks, it's going to suck. But if you think, oh, wow, I have this opportunity, I get to get up, I get to go do this today, then it brings a different vibe. And you attract more blessings and more opportunities like that is what I've always believed. And Gabby taught me that you don't have to hustle and work yourself into the ground. There's another way of doing it.
Yeah.
And so kind of listening to her and her perspective and kind of balancing the two, because you still have to work hard.
Yes.
You can't just sit home and expect blessings to show up.
Right.
That's not the way it works. But it's taking, and even with us starting this podcast, you know, doing something different. We have no idea what we're doing. Right?
But we both wanted
to do.
We really want to do it.
Make a community for other moms.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And we thought we're just going to do one thing every single day and push this along.
Yes.
We don't know what that is. We showed up today going, what are we going to talk about?
So we just sat here and talked for a while, actually.
We just hung out, which is so fun. And that's what led us to this conversation.
Right. Right.
About, you know, and you starting your LTM Creative Studio Instagram account. I was so happy. I have been telling you, like, you should do this. You're really good at this. You're really good at house design. You have a vibe. You have a vision. You're creative. I mean, to just wake up and be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to paint that. And then, wow.
I told you it's
good.
my therapy, though. So it took a lot. You know how much it took for me to actually put it out there. We're like a month and a half in of me.
But why do you think it took you so long to get to do that? I think because you were stuck in your mind of like, this is what I used to do. This is how I made money. This is how I hustled and grinded.
I very much thought it's one lane. And when that lane, when there was a huge detour, I was stuck for a long time, actually.
So
a very long time.
Okay. So you got pregnant. Tell them
let me
story about how you got pregnant with Matthew and then how everything with your career changed on a dime.
I feel like if I can go even further back without, I know sometimes I don't know how to tell short stories, but I think it's interesting because, like I said, I was very much, I am going to figure out my career and I am going to stop at nothing and work my ass off to be the best of the best, right? And I was like, I'm going to live in New York City. That's where I'm going to work. That's where the opportunities are. So that's what we did. I mean, I graduated in the same month, moved to Jersey City in a basement level apartment with Tim. We moved in together, which was like way against how I was raised, being Catholic, and you don't get, you don't move in with someone like my grandparents. I was like, my mom was totally good, but it was like, oh, how are grandparents going to feel about this? But anyway, I couldn't live somewhere on my own. How would I possibly afford that? Anyways, worked. And before ever having Lucy, so I worked at different PR agencies. And I mean, I was literally there till all hours, but making such little money, which is so wild when I think back on it. It's wild to think back,
right?
But I felt like this is what I have to do to like show I'm so, and I really was committed. It wasn't a conscious decision. It's just what I did.
It's just who you
And
were.
I don't know if I ever shared this with you. I ended up in the hospital. I ended up with ulcerative colitis. Like I ended up very, very sick because I was just filled with stress and I was
not taking care of yourself.
I was not taking care of myself, but but I also was in my 20s. So I would get off of work and then go have fun in the city and then run on a couple hours of sleep and then go sort of do it all again. So anyways, when I had Lucy, at that point, I was working at a different agency, more an employer branding side of things and doing very well and bringing some new perspective and thinking to them. And I was like, no, it'll be fine. I'll just do sort of the standard maternity leave. I'll be back. Don't worry. I'm so committed to my clients, all the things. Well, I had Lucy and everything changed. I was like, oh my gosh, how could anyone possibly take care of her? I need to figure out how I can make money, but be home with my daughter. And so I called my boss. I said, I have to quit. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not quitting. You're not quitting your job. Let's talk about this.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, I had already told someone I had met who we were going to try to do a nanny share. I said, I don't trust any of the nannies. I'll do it. I'll watch. This is going to be my new career path.
I love that story so much.
Oh my God. And poor Tim is just the best. He's so supportive. He's like, if this is what I was like, nobody can watch Lucy. It has to be me. Like crazy. So I'd already commit to my friend that I'm going to watch both babies who are 3 months old. And I quit my job and they said, you can't quit. Tell us what we can do to make this work. And I was like, okay. So I said, I have to be home. So now I have 2 babies and I'm working as a contractor. So long story short, that lasted a couple months and I told my friend, I'm really sorry. I think that
it's too much.
I think we're going to have to do traditional daycare. So then when so I did that for 3 months and then I found a wonderful school for Lucy that I felt
with
more
organic
comfortable with.
meals.
It was, exactly. Yep. Anyways, so then we had Thomas, I'm in the city every day doing it. Then we moved to the suburbs because once you have 2 kids, you feel like you just need more space, all the things. So then I was commuting 2 hours each day.
Yeah.
Or each way, like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. And my poor kids, they were the first ones dropped off. They were the last ones picked up. And if your train schedule, it was 3 different trains. If one of them's off. So Tim actually he started working from home before COVID, before it was a trend, because we couldn't get to our kids on time because we were both working in the city and we were in the suburbs. So fast forward, this is my mentality is I just have to, continue to grind to get to the top. So then COVID happened, everything changed. At that point, I was running sort of our New York office of the agency that I was working for. And we had this epiphany of why are we living in the suburbs of New Jersey when we both now work from home? We have no physical offices to go into. So we moved. That's when we decided to move because we were working from home and prove that it can work. And then, so everything's kind of working. Everything's falling into place. We're comfortable. We're successful, all of the things. And then we got pregnant with Matthew.
Yes, you did.
Which was such a blessing because we had gone through a few losses prior to that. And get pregnant with Matthew, I negotiated a longer maternity leave because I was finally starting to realize that it's really important to be home.
But why doesn't the world support mothers?
The
There's
U.S.
no support. Or the U.S.
The U.S. is so
The U.S.
awful.
is all about just produce for me.
Yes. When I had 12 weeks of maternity leave, it was like, people were like, that's amazing. You are so lucky. I'm like, well, isn't that sad? Because your body's not even healed yet after 12 weeks. You went back to work after 3 days or something. So I don't even.
Well, I was self-employed. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
We planned Griffin to be a December baby.
Yeah.
We planned it on purpose because of the schedule.
Oh.
And real estate is not busy in the winter months, especially in Chicago. It doesn't get busy again till February. So we did that on purpose. Well, Quinn was not planned. She was a surprise.
Right in the summer.
And of course, that's, when she decided to come. So I had to leave her and go do showings and make money because that's the only opportunity that I had. There was no paid leave. There was no maternity. Right. There's no nothing.
So you're right. It's such a different one because you're working for yourself.
Yeah. So it's not, so tell us more.
I know. And so essentially get pregnant with Matthew. I negotiated 6-month leave with my company. I'd been there for many, many years at this point. And again, this company is based in the UK. And so I was pretty excited because I had him in the summer and I wasn't going to be going back until the new year.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward and we were going through a sale at the time. And during that sale process, the private equity firm that they sold to decided, let's trim as much fat as possible and let's just lose, no longer are you going to be global. We're losing North America altogether. And so I got the news that there's no job to come back to. Well, that was like the biggest identity crisis I've ever had in my life. I had no idea until that moment how much my own self-worth and value I had wrapped up into my career.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I didn't know, and I had never made that connection.
Right.
But I plummeted. I felt like, who am I without this career? And what am I going to do? And it's just so crazy because you have that, like those moments that you see in movies, right? Where all these
Right.
moments flash in front of you. And it was kind of like, gosh, I like, and I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but I was like, I gave up so much and so many moments and so many things to build this career. And like that, it felt like it just literally vanished, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, what do I have to show for all those years of grinding? So it was tough. I mean, you were there with me through it
Yeah.
of like, I just kind of fell into a little bit of a hole, but thankfully I had the kids and Matthew to
Keep you
focus
busy.
on
And
and
then you
keep me
started focusing on
busy.
the house.
Yeah.
And that's how.
Yeah. Well, and then exactly. And then I was still doing consulting. So I was able to
Mhm.
pick up some different things here and there.
Right.
And actually a very silly lesson, but we all are told like don't burn bridges.
Right.
Well, that I was pretty emotionally distraught about this decision that was made. But when I came back and was grounded and came back to real life, like it wasn't personal, it's business. Of course it makes
Right.
sense. You got to do what you got to do. So the beauty of it was I didn't badmouth the agency. I didn't,
Right.
I wasn't harsh with my boss. We're all people. And so guess what? It all came back around, came full circle. And I was
We're
able to do
consulting.
consulting gigs with them. I'm still doing consulting gigs with them. But I was able to realize, hold on, I know what I'm doing. And so I do consulting with other agencies and companies as well. So it all worked out. But I probably wouldn't have come to this moment of I can do this on my own if that hadn't have happened. And like you said, then it allowed me to start my whatever I'm doing on
Yes.
Instagram. It allowed us to be able to do this. So blessing in disguise, silver lining for sure.
They
But
always
quite the
say,
journey.
like, when one door
Yeah.
closes, and also we get really stuck in thinking things have to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable and it's easy. But when you have kids and their different schedules,
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't work, but you stay because it's comfortable and it's easy.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not what's meant for you for the future. Like maybe there is something way better.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have it all. You can be home with your kids and still have a great career. And I think that so many Instagram influencers are showing us that, right? Like with being able to do things that you love, I think the money then comes, right?
Well, you've taught me that. I mean, you have pushed this because I was, I felt sorry for myself, if I'm being honest. When this all happened, I was like not in the best place, but you would reinforce this positivity. And what's really funny is literally just yesterday, Lucy and I were having a conversation and, we were talking about careers and how like mommy's looks different, but I want to make sure my kids know, like, I'm working probably even harder now trying to figure out all these different streams. She goes, Mom, but do you know what the neatest part is? You're happy. And I was like, and it's true because these things that what we're doing brings me joy.
Yeah.
What I'm doing with LTM brings me joy. Doing the consulting and knowing it's on my terms and my schedule and I'm setting my rate brings me joy. So thank you for pushing and saying, like, it doesn't have to be one way.
There's a bigger path.
Yeah.
There's a bigger plan for us that we don't know about. Our job is to trust the plan, right? So, but sometimes it's really hard. Like there's a lot of fear of the unknown.
Oh my gosh.
How am I going to do this? We don't live in a bustling city with tons of opportunity.
Right.
We live in even smaller of a suburb than living in a suburb outside Chicago or New York. Like there is nothing. There's nothing here.
It's very different. Yeah. The pace, all of it is
very different.
So different.
Like the pay is different.
Yes.
Like if, I was looking for a job, to have to commute an hour to make less money and be away from my family, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
It really doesn't. And that's what you have here because there is nothing around us.
Yeah.
So we have to make our own way.
Yeah.
And we have to trust that the universe is going to provide that. For us.
Well, and I think one of the things
with our work.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just going to say is you have talked before about how it's not comfortable. And I think that's what I struggled with to make the leap because I was like, well, this is way too scary. And
it is scary.
And there's no security, right? Which I've at least always had the security blanket of a corporate job. But there wasn't so it's finding that balance. And I think when you sort of said, Shannon, like, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to push through the discomfort.
Yes.
And then you find good on the other. So we're still in that, like, I don't know, are things going to work? Are they not? I don't know, but I'm so proud of us for trying.
Yeah.
And that feels good. And then I think I'm showing up different at home. If my daughter is recognizing, like, you're
That's
happier.
huge.
Now, we have less, quite literally, but like, if I'm happier, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's the balance, right?
Less is more.
And then it will come, though, like you said.
You were working till like 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
Like, quite literally. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to hang out with you and you just could not hang out.
And you know what's crazy? In like my earlier stage of life, Aaron would always go, we actually lived in the same city and you were always working, so we didn't get to hang out.
Yes.
Like, it's so silly. But
yes.
I mean, so many people, that's just how it is.
It is. It is how it is. But it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. And
there doesn't have to be one way. There doesn't have to be, you can do a lot of things that bring you joy. If it brings you joy, you're going to manifest more than you can ever think of.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing too is, though, it has to be practical and it has to make sense in your life right now. Like the conversation we're having and the different paths that I'm trying right now I wouldn't have been able to do this 10 years ago.
Right.
So like we're not delusional in thinking, you have to have support systems in place. You have to have, we were able to sort of build a certain career and get to sort of place.
To a certain place. Like, and we have significant others who are supportive, thankfully, that understand us, what we want to accomplish, and they're supportive of that. I mean, I would do it even if he wasn't supportive. I would find a way, but luckily we have that, and some people don't.
Right. So I think it's just us being recognizing, like, obviously, we're not saying quit your corporate job tomorrow
and go do something else.
It has to be the right timing, but finding joy, it is way more important than I think I ever honestly realized.
Yeah.
And my family feels it. My friends feel it, so.
I think kids they change everything in ways, and especially it's just different now. It's different than when I grew up. I can't really explain it all. We don't really have time to listen to me.
Well, because I talked my ear off. I'm sorry I talked your ear off today.
It just changes everything.
Yeah.
Well, everything changes. Like, do you remember how sick my kids were all the time when I moved here? It was every month.
Time.
And I was self-employed. Matt and I were working together, but I was able to be with them if they were sick. And I did have a nanny, and that depending on the type of sick at the time, the nanny would stay with them.
Right.
But I wouldn't have been able to keep a regular job with how sick my kids were.
Yeah.
How often. And then they got me sick.
Well,
so.
And it is, Tim and I talk about this all the time, because I'm never just like not doing something. I mean, you and I talk about this.
Never.
Aaron and I talk about this. Like, it is crazy. And I feel because not everybody, I feel very lucky that I'm able to take the kids to their extracurriculars, be there when they get home from school. Because I think back, like, gosh, Tim, what would we do if if our careers were exactly the way they were before? And honestly, if we didn't have the opportunity to work from home,
right.
I guess it is a nanny, but then that's a whole massive expense.
It is.
It's a lot, because I know with my kids, some of their extracurriculars start. Last season, Lucy's dance started at 3:30. Well, I mean, that's wild, right?
And but it was 30 minutes away,
right? So it's just, I don't know.
She doesn't even get out of school till 2:20.
She was getting off the bus at 3, and I was like, "Get in the car, we gotta go." But I'm thinking, gosh, we're so lucky that I'm able to do that. And you figure it out. I would have had probably somebody else drive her, but I don't know. I think that traditional way of working, it's changed. The model's changed. It's different now.
Changed. And I told Griffin he was using ChatGPT on his homework.
Yeah.
We have a tutor that does homework because I don't do homework. I'm not down with it. So luckily we have a great tutor that will come to the house, does their homework with them. But he was checking something in the morning before going to school, and he uses Matt's phone because Matt doesn't know what he's doing. And he's not going to ask or care. Where I'd be like, "Why do you need my phone? What are you doing?" And I go over to him, and he's using ChatGPT, and he's taking the picture, checking the answer, and he's like, "Oh." And then he's like, "But look, it explains why that was wrong, and it explains." And I thought, how smart. Work smarter, not harder. Like, resourcefulness. That to me is more valuable than that stupid piece of paper,
Yeah.
homework paper that you will never remember,
Right.
that is just BS to give you something to do. And I know other moms don't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone has different thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, because I'm resourceful and I've had to
You're like, this is going to be
be a
helpful.
problem solver, like that was so
Yeah.
smart.
So smart. So smart. But it is
He
funny
gets it
because
from me.
but it's funny because I think about if I had seen my I would probably be like, oh, that you like
My
just all the
mother-in-law was like
different
shocked, and I was like bragging about it. And she's like, but I'm like, no,
the
that was
world's
smart.
changed.
It's
Right.
not what you think.
And also like I use ChatGPT every day. Like
Every
that's just
day.
the way of
That's
the
what we do.
world now. It's work smarter, not harder. So I guess that's the theme of this episode. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, works. That's a great one.
Right?
You're so smart, girl.
Oh boy.
Well, I think that's the point of
Yeah.
our show today. Work
Yeah.
smarter, not harder. There's not one way. If something happens and the thoughts that you had ideally in your mind are not working out, just take a minute and say to yourself, maybe there's a plan that's far better than what I had thought, and have trust and faith in that.
I love that. And that's it's a
Right?
message that you reinforce all the time, and I think you're spot on. And it does.
Yeah.
It shifts that mindset and allows you to open yourself to things that maybe you would have been just too closed off for in the past.
And
So,
one other thing before we leave you. So something I've been trying to say to myself every single day. There's two. One thing that I say when I'm having negative thoughts is, all is well. Everything is working out for the highest good for all. I say this to myself. And guess what? I have to say it much less than I used to.
that's so good.
Okay. And the new one that I'm saying to myself is, miracles are happening for me every day.
Okay.
Miracles are happening for me every day.
I'm going to put that out there too. I
Every
think it's
single
important.
day. It just feels so good to even say it.
Yeah.
And believe it. Like, I believe it. Miracles are happening for me every single day. Just say it every day.
Yeah. I'm in the positive mindset.
See.
Yeah.
And let's see what miracles come up.
I love
We're
it.
going to report back on the miracles.
I was just going to say, I'm going to
We're
start
gonna do it.
today because I have not said this yet.
You could put it in your phone, like as a reminder,
Yeah.
if you forget. And by the way, it's 11:11 as I said that.
Perfect time to end the show then. This is perfect.
That's amazing.
Oh, see, things happen for a reason. I love
Me
it.
too. All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time on MomCom. And just remember, it's not you, it's motherhood.